We've got tanks, we've got DPS units, we've got support units, and I'm going to be explaining each 2-cost mini and how to play them inside today's video. So first up, we've got the Knight, and the Knight is a 2-cost tank, meaning he soaks up a lot of damage, so you want to place this mini on the front lines to soak up that damage from your opponent's minis. You don't want to place him in the back lines, guys, because if you place him in the back lines, you're not getting any value off him, because tanks usually have low DPS but higher HP, and he does have a clash ability, so on round start he will taunt your opponent's minis, meaning if your opponent's minis are inside his taunt radius, that means the opponent's minis will attack and target the Knight first. So if he's in the back lines, you're not going to get any value off his clash ability, so do bear this in mind, my friends. So moving on to the Barbarian, and the Barbarian is a support unit, meaning like you don't want to place him in the back lines, but you want to place him behind your tanks, just so as the rounds start and progress, your Barbarian can move forward and target your opponent's minis and do some nice DPS that way. He does have some nice upgrades available to increase his damage output and his health to keep him alive as the rounds progress, and if untouched, the Barbarian can actually do some nice DPS. Moving on to the Miner, and the Miner's a super interesting one because he actually burrows to the back of the board, popping up on your opponent's side, and he's actually only one of 3 minis with Dissipate, the other 2 being the Mini Pecker and the Bandit, and it's great for attacking enemy minis that have energy such as the E-Wizard and the Musketeer. But do bear this in mind, don't place the Miner on the front tile to get to the back of the board, because if your opponent's playing the Prince or a Spear Goblin, they cannot actually hit the Miner before he burrows under the board, so do play him further back. And we've got the little old Archer, and she does target the furthest enemies away. She does have some nice upgrades. You want to place the Archer at the back of the battle board, tucked away behind your tanks and things like that. She does have a nice upgrade where she targets an additional target, so she can be super helpful on the Devil's Deal tile and the Growing tile, giving her that extra damage output to multiple units. But again, do play her in the back rows, guys, because she's super squishy. And we've got the Spear Goblin, super useful 2-cost mini inside the current meta with the no movement change, because on Clash, he throws a huge spear dealing 10 damage at the start of a round. So you don't want to play this mini in the first round because you don't know where your opponents place their minis. What you want to do is hold on to this mini, place him at the back line, because he is a ranged mini, so place him at the back line out of the way. And once your opponents place their minis, you can see where they are. You can place your Spear Goblin to throw that spear to deal some nice damage output to your opponent's minis, and he also has an upgrade where he does have increased damage with that spear toss, so again, do bear this in mind. Moving on to the Wizard, and the Wizard is only one of 2 minis with an anti-heal upgrade, the other one being the Valk, and this is a ranged mini. Again, you place at the back of the boards behind your tanks and your hero and stuff like that, and the purpose of this mini is to get some DPS on your opponent's minis as the rounds progress. But in the current meta, I don't see a lot of Wizards used, but if you do face a lot of people with heals in the deck, such as the Battle Healer and the Healing Ranger, maybe try putting a Wizard inside your deck. So we had the Wizard, now we've got the Ice Wizard, and the Ice Wizard is my favourite 2-cost mini inside of the game, and again, you play this mini at the back of the battle board, and the purpose of this mini is to slow your opponent's minis down, super frustrating, got some nice upgrades, and with the no movement change, he's got a really useful upgrade for his 3rd upgrade. He freezes himself and a mini either side of him in place, and it stops incoming damage from clash abilities such as the Prince and the Spear Goblin. So again, bear this in mind, super useful inside of the meta. So moving on to the Lumberjack, and this is an interesting one because you can utilize the Lumberjack as a tank. He does have an ability where when he's knocked out, he drops that potion, increases your allies' attack speed by 20% for 3 seconds. Super useful, but one of his upgrades is on round start, he throws that potion to nearby allies, increasing their attack speed, so it's great to use with the Archer and the Magic Archer, so therefore you place the Lumberjack in the back lines. So again, just bear this in mind, it can be utilised both ways as a support unit or as a tank. Next up, we've got the Skelly Guard, and again, the Skelly Guard is one of my favourite 2-cost minis inside the game, and again, he is a tank, so you want to place him at the front of the battle board, and on Clash, he gets 10 shield amount at round start. He's got some nice upgrades to make him soak up more damage as the rounds progress. If you want to do so, don't play him in the back row, guys. Again, he doesn't have massive damage output, but his purpose is to soak up damage, and again, this mini works really well with the Grand Warden. And finally, we've got the Dagger Goblin, and for everything you need to know about the Dagger Goblin, click on the video popping up on screen now.